I got scammed. I backed the Dune Pro PC case for $300, but like thousands of others, never received anything.
The Dune case.
Dune Case Pro.
This was an ultra premium shell of the Apple Mac Pro, but could actually fit PC hardware like motherboards and radiators. I was so excited for this thing, I was going to build my main system in it and go all out. I watched every review on it and already started planning and buying new parts. But then, updates for the Kickstarter campaign just stopped. Weeks became months, and the founder, Alex, just disappeared with over $1 million. Honestly, who knows what happened with the Dune Case Pro, whether it was some elaborate scam from the beginning or if they just couldn't get past some manufacturing issues like they say they had. But imagine 5 years later, this thing pops up out of nowhere, the Mac Pro Apollo X. It looks like the same thing, an Apple Mac Pro with PC hardware compatibility. Now, when I bought this thing, I thought it was another scam, right? It's just the perfect recipe. The price is very scammy. The name is also very scammy. I mean, no offense to Mac Pro if they are a legit company, but you know, what is even a Mac Pro? And just like, how have they been able to do something that Dune Case haven't, and with no crowdfunding at all? To manufacture something like this, to manufacture anything, you have to reach an MOQ, or a minimum order quantity. And for an enthusiast PC case, from what I've heard from other brands, that is at least 1 to 200, which for one, is a lot of money to put down. And secondly, where are all of those other units? But then it clicked. This has to be a Dune Case Pro sample. I know there were lots of samples floating around. Maybe someone got their hands on a bunch of them and are selling them at an insane price and calling it a Mac Pro. At the very least, if it isn't a sample, maybe someone else took over the existing tooling for the Dune Case and manufactured a small batch. But as soon as I took off the side panel, I realized both of those explanations were wrong. Although this looks like a Dune Case Pro, it's actually not. For starters, the power supply in this is at the top, whereas in the Dune Case, it's at the bottom. So here instead, you've got ventilation and radiator mounting at the bottom. The top I/O is also different. The entire motherboard tray and the rear tray is different. Basically, everything on the case, if you spot the difference, is a little bit different. Even this iconic cheese grater front panel, which does look absolutely amazing, by the way, here it's done exactly like the Apple Mac Pro. You've got spherical cutouts on the front and on the rear, whereas the Dune Case Pro looks like it has cube cutouts on the flip side. The main difference here versus a real Mac Pro, aside from the internal hardware being completely different, would have to be the rear panel, where Apple additionally do those spherical cutouts there too, which does look pretty sick. Here, it's just one solid piece. The anodizing is also more rough and textured here, whereas a real Mac Pro would be smoother. I did notice though, the honeycomb mesh that sits behind the front panel on the Mac Pro, you oddly get that here too. It's a weird attention to detail, but it is also something that you can remove if you want. Now, I promise this is not about being like obsessed with Apple or anything like that. I'm not an Apple fanboy, although I do use and enjoy a lot of Apple products. This for me is more about just seeing something in the PC market which doesn't exist. No one is making it. You take a look at all of the PC cases today, most of them are using really cheap materials. Occasionally there's a bit of glass, but mostly it's steel and plastic. And really it's just all about displaying as much RGB lighting as possible. That's okay, I guess, for the budget and mainstream stuff, but even if you want a more premium option, there's nothing like this. This is the complete opposite to that, which I personally really enjoy. It's completely closed off, and there's a big focus here on the materials used and kind of showcasing that attention to detail, the effort that goes into the machining and stuff like that. The price, though, is just stupid. I mean, this video is not about evaluating anyway whether you should buy it or not, because at $1,000 US, we might as well pretend it doesn't exist. Although, in the context of an actual Apple product, I mean, let's just say it is, Apple do sell a monitor stand for that exact price. So, I mean, when you put it next to that, it's actually looking like a pretty good deal. Being 100% real though, if this thing was actually closer to like $300-ish, I think that's at the point where I can probably recommend it in terms of like the quality that you're getting. But yeah, until then, this is still kind of a meme. But now that it's here, I might as well build in it. And yeah, I can't lie, I don't necessarily want to promote this thing, but It does feel good to finally build in something that I got scammed out of a few years back. This is just a quick build to get something in here and make sure it does actually fit PC components properly. I don't think I'll be putting my main system in this anymore, but it's also too expensive not to find some use for, so I do have some plans for it. Hopefully McPrew are watching this, because I would love to see this thing offered at an actual reasonable price. Everything else about the case, and even my experience building in it, was actually really good.